There is a secret, a truth so profound that once you grasp it, your entire world will shift. It is not about waiting, hoping, or doubting. It is about knowing. Knowing that what you seek is already yours, that the life you desire is not a distant dream but a present reality, waiting for you to accept it. You do not beg for what is already written in the script of your life. You step into it, claim it, embody it. If you truly believe that your greatest success is inevitable, how would you walk? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? Would you hesitate? Would you shrink back in doubt? Or would you move with the certainty of one who knows their victory is assured? That is the difference between those who manifest their desires and those who remain trapped in the illusion of waiting. To act as if your success is on the way is not to pretend. It is to align with the unseen, the reality beyond the senses, and to make it visible. Look around you. Everything you experience today was once just a thought, an idea, an unseen possibility. Yet the moment someone dared to assume it as true, to live in its fulfillment before the world confirmed it, it took shape. The same principle applies to you. When you act as if your success is already unfolding, you are not faking it. You are shifting into the frequency where it must become real. The world outside is only a reflection of the world within. Change the assumption, and the outer must conform. Do not wait for signs, be the sign. Do not look for proof, be the proof. You are not separate from your desire. You are its very essence, its creator, its fulfillment. The moment you surrender to the knowing that it is already yours, it must appear. Speak from the end, live from the end, and watch as the world bends to mirror your conviction. The world conforms to your assumption. When you fully accept that your success is yours, reality must arrange itself to reflect that belief. Success is not something you wait for. It is something you step into. Too often, people live their lives as if success is a distant possibility, something that may or may not happen based on circumstances outside their control. They wait for signs, for permission, for the perfect moment. But the truth is, success is not waiting somewhere in the future. It is here, now, ready to be claimed by those who have the courage to step into it. The moment you shift your perception and assume that your success is already unfolding, you begin to move differently, think differently, and attract the very things that confirm your belief. Imagine two people with the same dream, the same talent, and the same potential. One of them waits, hoping that life will somehow align to bring their desires to pass. The other wakes up each morning and moves through their day with the certainty that their dream is already a reality in motion. They carry themselves with confidence, they make decisions from a place of knowing rather than doubting, and they see opportunities where others see obstacles. The difference between them is not luck, intelligence, or even effort. It is assumption. One assumes that success is uncertain, so they hesitate. The other assumes that success is inevitable, so they act accordingly. To step into success means embodying the version of yourself who already has what you desire. If you knew beyond any doubt that the life you dream of was guaranteed, how would you behave? Would you still hesitate, second-guess yourself, or let fear dictate your actions? Or would you stand tall, speak with confidence, and take inspired action? The way you see yourself determines everything. The world does not give you what you wish for, it gives you what you believe yourself to be. Consider a person who wants to be wealthy. If they continue to see themselves as struggling, if they constantly affirm their lack, if they wait for external circumstances to improve before they feel abundant, they remain stuck in a cycle of scarcity. But the moment they begin to embody wealth, not just in thought but in action, their reality shifts. They begin to walk, talk, and make decisions like someone who is financially free. They feel abundance even before the bank account reflects it. This shift in consciousness creates a new reality, because life mirrors what you assume to be true. Success is not an event that happens to you, it is a state of being that you step into. The difference between those who manifest their desires and those who don't is not talent, luck, or hard work. It is identity. Who are you in relation to your dream? Are you someone who is trying to succeed, or are you someone who is already successful, moving toward even greater heights? The person who believes they are trying will always remain in a state of trying. The person who believes they are successful will naturally take actions that align with that truth. Your mind will always look for evidence of what you believe. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will unconsciously seek out proof of struggle. If you see yourself as someone destined for greatness, you will notice opportunities where others see obstacles. This is why waiting for success is a trap. If you wait, you are affirming that success is not yet yours. And if you believe success is not yet yours, life will reflect that back to you. The shift happens when you stop looking at the world for confirmation and instead decide to embody the reality you desire. The moment you act as if your success is guaranteed, your actions begin to reflect that belief. You start making bold decisions, speaking with conviction, and taking steps that align with your desired outcome. Opportunities begin to appear, not because they weren't there before, but because you were not in the right state to recognize them. Think of an actor preparing for a role. If they only read the script but never stepped into character, they would never fully embody the part. But the moment they immerse themselves in the role, their mannerisms, speech, and energy shift to match the character they are portraying. This is not deception, it is alignment. In the same way, you must step into the role of the successful version of yourself. You must think, feel, and act as that version every single day until it becomes second nature. Many people misunderstand this concept and think it means pretending or faking confidence, but there is nothing fake about stepping into what is already yours. When you align with success, you are not deceiving yourself. You are awakening to the truth that it was always within you. You are not creating something from nothing. You are revealing what has been hidden beneath layers of doubt, fear, and limitation. The greatest achievers in history did not wait for proof before they believed in their success. They stepped into it even when there was no evidence. They spoke as if, moved as if, and decided as if their success was inevitable. And because they did, the world had no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect their belief. This is the power you hold. The moment you decide that your success is not a question but a certainty, everything changes. You no longer waste time doubting, hesitating, or seeking approval. You move with clarity, confidence, and purpose. The path that once seemed uncertain becomes clear because you are walking it with conviction. You do not have to wait for success to come to you. It is already here. The only thing required is for you to step into it. Let go of hesitation. Release the need for external validation. Assume your success is inevitable and move through life as if it is already unfolding. The moment you do, the world will reflect that truth back to you in ways you never imagined. Your assumptions shape your reality. This is not merely an abstract idea, it is the foundation upon which your entire life is built. Every experience, every opportunity, and every challenge you face is a reflection of what you assume to be true. The world does not happen to you, it responds to you. It mirrors back the thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that dominate your inner world. Think about the way you see yourself. Do you assume that success is easy, natural, and inevitable for you? Or do you assume that life is difficult, that success is reserved for others, and that you must struggle to achieve your dreams? These assumptions may seem subtle, but they are the invisible forces guiding your every decision, action, and outcome. If you believe deep down that you are meant for greatness, you will move through life with a quiet confidence that attracts opportunities. If you believe that you are destined for struggle, you will unconsciously create obstacles that confirm that belief. Your assumptions are not just passive thoughts, they are creative forces shaping your experience. What you assume to be true long enough will harden into fact. Look at your life as it is right now. The circumstances you are in, the relationships you have, the level of success you experience, all of it is a reflection of past assumptions. Nothing appears by chance. Everything is unfolding according to the beliefs you hold about yourself and the world. Consider someone who assumes they are always lucky. No matter what happens, they find a way to see things working in their favor. Even in setbacks, they assume that something better is unfolding for them. Because of this assumption, they take risks, seize opportunities, and move with the expectation of success. Now contrast that with someone who assumes that nothing ever works out for them. They hesitate, doubt themselves, and fear taking action because they believe failure is inevitable. The first person's life is filled with unexpected blessings, while the second person encounters constant disappointments. The difference is not external circumstances, it is internal belief. Assumptions are not wishful thinking, they are the reality you are constantly projecting onto the world. If you want to know what you truly believe, look at your life. What you have assumed long enough has become real. The good news is that if you want to change your life, you do not need to fight against external circumstances. You only need to shift your assumptions. If you assume that wealth is difficult to attain, you will struggle financially no matter how much effort you put in. But if you assume that money flows easily and naturally to you, you will begin to see opportunities, ideas, and connections that bring financial abundance into your life. The assumption itself changes the way you perceive and respond to the world. A person who assumes financial abundance will think differently, speak differently, and make choices that align with wealth. They will not hesitate to invest in themselves, take risks, or seize opportunities. Meanwhile, a person who assumes scarcity will hesitate, play small, and sabotage their own success without even realizing it. Assumptions are the silent architects of your future. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are in consciousness. If you want love but assume that relationships always end in pain, you will find yourself in situations that confirm that belief. If you want success but assume that you are not worthy of it, you will find ways to hold yourself back. The mind is always looking for proof of what it already believes. It filters out everything that contradicts its assumptions and highlights everything that supports them. To change your life, you must first change what you assume to be true. But this is not about forcing yourself to think positively. It is about embodying a new truth so deeply that it becomes second nature. You must begin to see yourself as the person who already has what you desire, not as someone who is trying, hoping, or waiting, but as someone who knows deep within that success is already theirs. When you shift your assumptions, the world must follow. The way people respond to you changes. The way circumstances unfold shifts. It is not because the world itself has changed. It is because you have changed, and reality is simply reflecting your new state of being. If you walk into a room assuming you are confident, people will perceive you as confident. If you walk into a situation assuming you are valuable, you will be treated as valuable. The assumption creates the reality, not the other way around. This is why so many people remain stuck. They wait for external proof before they believe something is possible. They wait to see success before they assume they are successful. But that is not how reality works. Reality mirrors assumption. The proof only appears after the assumption is made. You must decide first. You must assume first. Only then will life arrange itself to reflect your belief. Look at the stories of those who have achieved great things. They did not wait for the world to confirm their potential. They assumed it before anyone else could see it. They carried themselves as if success was inevitable, even when circumstances suggested otherwise. And because they assumed it so completely, their reality conformed. You must do the same. If you want to change your life, begin by examining your deepest assumptions. What do you believe about yourself, about success, about love, about money, about happiness? Are these beliefs serving you, or are they keeping you trapped in an unwanted cycle? If they are not aligned with the life you desire, change them. Assume a new reality. Assume that you are already the person you wish to become. Assume that success, love, and abundance are flowing into your life effortlessly. This is not about ignoring reality. It is about creating a new one. The reality you experience today was shaped by past assumptions. The reality you will experience tomorrow will be shaped by the assumptions you hold now. When you shift your belief, you have the power to shape your world, not by struggling, not by forcing, but by assuming the reality you desire. Change your assumption and the world will rearrange itself to reflect your new state of being. It has no choice. Reality must conform to the consciousness that creates it. Your inner state determines the world you experience. Every thought you dwell on, every feeling you nurture, every image you hold in your mind is shaping your reality. You are not merely reacting to life, you are creating it moment by moment. The way you feel right now is not just a passing emotion, it is a blueprint for your future. If you wish to experience the success you desire, you must first feel it within. You must make the feeling of accomplishment, joy, and fulfillment so familiar that the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Most people wait for external proof before they allow themselves to feel successful. They believe that once they achieve a goal, then they will feel happy, confident, and secure. But this is backward. The external world is only a mirror of your inner state. If you withhold the feeling of success, waiting for something outside of you to grant it, you will always be waiting. But if you cultivate the feeling now, before any physical evidence appears, the world will move to match it. Everything in life responds to frequency, and your feelings determine the frequency you are emitting. When you feel successful, you naturally act, think, and carry yourself differently. You take actions that align with confidence and certainty. You notice opportunities you would have otherwise overlooked. You move in ways that attract the very things you seek. But if you feel uncertain, if you doubt, if you focus on what is missing, you remain in a state of lack. You take hesitant actions. You see obstacles instead of opportunities. You push success further away because you are not in harmony with it. The secret is to become deeply acquainted with the feeling of already having what you desire. Imagine what it feels like to wake up every morning knowing that your biggest success has already arrived. How do you move? How do you speak? How do you carry yourself? There is a quiet power in someone who knows they have already won. There is no desperation, no striving, no seeking, only a deep, unshakable knowing. This is the state that calls forth the reality you wish to experience. If you desire wealth, do not focus on the lack of money in your bank account. Feel the ease and security that wealth brings. If you desire love, do not dwell on loneliness. Feel the warmth, the connection, the deep knowing that love is already present. If you desire success, do not think about the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Feel the confidence, the fulfillment, the certainty of having already arrived. It is not about pretending or fooling yourself. It is about embodying the truth that what you seek is already yours in consciousness. The mind does not distinguish between imagination and reality. If you vividly imagine and fully feel the state of success, your mind accepts it as truth. It begins to guide you effortlessly toward experiences that match that state. This is why those who feel successful in advance seem to attract success with ease. They are not lucky. They are simply aligned. Their inner state is in harmony with the outcomes they wish to experience, and reality has no choice but to reflect that. Many people make the mistake of chasing results while ignoring their inner state. They work tirelessly, trying to force success into existence, all while feeling doubt, worry, or frustration. But no amount of action can override a misaligned state of being. You do not need to struggle or force, you need to align. The moment you embody the feeling of your desired outcome, the struggle dissolves. Actions become effortless. The right doors open, the right people appear. It seems as though the universe itself conspires to make things happen for you, but in truth, it is only responding to the shift you have made within yourself. This is why acting from a place of lack never brings abundance. If you work towards success while feeling unsuccessful, you reinforce the very state you are trying to escape. But if you work towards success while already feeling successful, your actions are infused with confidence and certainty. You take inspired steps rather than desperate ones. You trust the process rather than fearing the outcome. You radiate a presence that draws success to you effortlessly. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate the feeling of success is to immerse yourself in the experience mentally before it becomes physical. Close your eyes and step into the version of yourself who has already achieved everything you desire. Feel the excitement, the satisfaction, the gratitude. What do you see around you? Who is with you? What conversations are you having? The more real this experience becomes in your mind, the more natural it will feel, and the more quickly your external world will move to reflect it. When you consistently hold the feeling of already having what you desire, you dissolve resistance. You no longer send signals of lack or uncertainty to the world. Instead, you radiate assurance, and reality aligns accordingly. This is why those who expect great things receive them, while those who fear failure often experience it. Life is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Your feelings are not just personal experiences, they are creative forces. They are shaping the circumstances, relationships, and opportunities that appear in your life. If you wish to change your external world, begin by changing your internal state. Stop waiting for success to give you permission to feel successful. Feel it now, live in it now, make it so real within you that it becomes impossible for the outer world not to conform. Your greatest success is not something that exists in the distant future, it is something you can step into right now. Not by waiting, not by hoping, but by feeling. Let the feeling of success become your natural state, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match your inner reality. The world you see is not separate from you. It is not something happening outside of you, independent of your thoughts and emotions. It is a direct reflection of your inner world, shaped by your beliefs, your assumptions, and most importantly, your state of being. Every single day, the way you feel, the way you carry yourself, and the way you respond to life's circumstances are sending out signals to the universe. These signals determine what is drawn into your experience. Most people believe that their actions alone are what create success, but this is not entirely true. Actions are simply the bridge between your internal state and the external world. If the foundation of your actions is built on fear, doubt, or lack, the results will reflect that. But if your actions arise from a state of certainty, fulfillment, and joy, the world will respond accordingly. This is why two people can take the same steps, yet one finds success while the other struggles. It is not just about what they do, but the energy behind their actions. Think about the way a person walks when they are confident and assured. Their posture is strong, their stride is steady, and their presence commands attention. Now think about someone who is uncertain, afraid, or full of self-doubt. Their shoulders slump, their steps are hesitant, and they seem to shrink away from the world. Without a single word being spoken, you can feel the difference. The same principle applies to everything in life. The way you move, the way you speak, and the way you engage with the world all carry a frequency. That frequency determines the reality you experience. The key to attracting success is to embody it before you see any evidence of it in your external world. This does not mean pretending or acting in a way that feels unnatural. It means stepping into the version of yourself who already has what you desire. If you were already successful, how would you approach life? How would you handle challenges? How would you interact with others? The more you align with this version of yourself, the more quickly your world will shift to match it. Many people spend their time focusing on what they lack, and as a result, they perpetuate that lack. They wake up thinking about what they do not have, they speak about their problems, they dwell on obstacles. And without realizing it, they are reinforcing the very conditions they want to change. But the moment you shift your focus to the reality you wish to create, everything begins to move in your favor. When you wake up in the morning, do not start your day by thinking about what is missing. Instead, step into the feeling of already having what you desire. Move through your day with the energy of someone who has already achieved their dreams. Let this feeling influence every action you take. When you speak to others, speak from a place of confidence and certainty. When you walk into a room, do so with the presence of someone who knows their worth. Every small shift in your energy creates ripples that affect the world around you. Success is not something you chase, it is something you become. And when you become it, it comes to you effortlessly. This is why some people seem to attract opportunities with ease, while others struggle for years without making progress. Those who succeed are not waiting for the world to change before they allow themselves to feel successful. They have already made the shift internally, and the world is simply catching up to match their inner state. The mind is the most powerful tool you have, and it does not know the difference between reality and imagination. If you consistently see yourself as already having what you desire, your mind will accept it as truth. You will begin to take actions that align with that reality. You will see opportunities where others see obstacles. You will attract the right people, the right circumstances, and the right conditions that align with the success you have already claimed internally. Most people sabotage themselves because they allow their current reality to dictate their state of being. They look at their bank account and feel lack. They look at their career and feel frustrated. They look at their relationships and feel lonely. But this approach keeps them trapped in a cycle of repeating the same experiences. The only way to break free from this cycle is to stop letting external conditions control your inner state. You must decide right now to feel the way you would if everything you desire was already yours. This shift does not happen overnight, but it is a practice. Every time you catch yourself falling into doubt, gently guide yourself back into certainty. Every time you notice yourself focusing on what is missing, redirect your attention to what is possible. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Over time, this new state of being will feel effortless, and the world will have no choice but to reflect it. Think about the most successful people you admire. They did not wait for the world to give them permission to feel successful. They claimed it first. They walked in the energy of success long before anyone else recognized it. This is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. It is not about luck. It is about alignment. The greatest mistake you can make is waiting for success to arrive before you feel it. If you wait, you will always be waiting. Instead, make the decision to embody success now. Let your thoughts, your actions, and your energy be a match for the reality you wish to create. The moment you do this, you will find that success is not something in the future. It is something you can step into right now. Your senses may tell you one story, but reality is not confined to what your eyes can see, what your ears can hear, or what your hands can touch. The world you experience is a reflection of your imagination. What you hold in your mind shapes what you encounter in the physical realm. If you believe that success is far away, if you feel that it is something distant and uncertain, then it will remain just that, out of reach. But the moment you shift your perception, the moment you declare that success is already unfolding for you, the moment you claim it as yours in your inner world, the outer world will begin to mirror that truth. Most people allow their senses to dictate what they believe is possible. They look at their current circumstances and conclude that they are stuck. They check their bank account and believe they lack abundance. They see a lack of opportunity and believe they are limited. But this is an illusion. The physical world is nothing more than a delayed reflection of past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. It is not permanent, and it is not the ultimate reality. True reality exists in the unseen, in the realm of your imagination, in the convictions you hold deeply within you. To shift your external world, you must first shift your internal world. The only reason anything appears impossible is because you have accepted it as such. The moment you decide that success is inevitable, that what you desire is already yours, everything around you begins to move to bring that vision to life. The outer world cannot help but conform to the inner world you persistently hold. If you observe those who consistently achieve success, you will notice a common thread. They do not wait for external validation before believing in their vision. They see what others do not see. They hold faith in the unseen. Long before their success materializes in the physical world, they are already living in the certainty of its existence. They act as if it is done. They move, speak, and think from the perspective of one who already possesses the outcome they desire. If you wish to manifest success, you must first embody the state of having it. You must wake up each day with the conviction that everything is unfolding perfectly in your favor. You must train yourself to see beyond the physical, beyond the temporary conditions that appear before you. If you can hold on to this belief, regardless of what your senses tell you, If you can remain steadfast in the unseen reality you have claimed, then the outer world must eventually conform. Most people struggle because they allow doubt to creep in. They look for signs of change, and when they do not see immediate evidence, they assume nothing is happening. But the seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. There is a process unfolding beneath the surface, invisible to the eye, yet very real. The same is true for your desires. The moment you assume success as your reality, forces beyond your immediate perception begin working to bring it into form. But if you allow impatience and doubt to disrupt the process, you uproot the seed before it has a chance to grow. You must learn to trust in the unseen. You must persist in your assumption of success, even when the outer world appears unchanged. The more you affirm your reality within, the stronger it becomes, until it is no longer just a thought but a tangible experience. Your job is not to question when or how it will happen. Your job is to remain unwavering in the conviction that it is already so. Think about the power of imagination. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every extraordinary success first existed in someone's mind before it took shape in the world. Nothing is created without first being imagined. If you can see it in your mind, if you can feel it as real, then it is only a matter of time before it is reflected in your experience. When you close your eyes and picture your success, do not see it as something you are reaching for. See it as something you already have. Step into the feeling of having it now. How do you carry yourself? How do you think? How do you interact with the world? If you can sustain this feeling long enough, reality will mold itself to match your assumption. It is not about forcing anything to happen. It is about knowing that it is already done. It is about walking through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that everything is working in their favor. The moment you embrace this mindset, you will find that obstacles dissolve, opportunities arise effortlessly, and what once seemed out of reach begins to unfold naturally before you. Doubt is the only thing that stands between you and the life you desire. The moment you replace doubt with certainty, the world shifts. Stop looking for proof outside of yourself. Become the proof. Become the evidence. Live in the knowing that success is already yours, and as you do, you will watch in awe as the unseen becomes seen, as the imagined becomes reality, as the world reshapes itself to reflect the truth you have claimed. There is a power within you that is far greater than any obstacle, any setback, or any limitation you believe exists. This power is always at work, shaping your life according to the thoughts and assumptions you hold most consistently. Every moment, you are either consciously or unconsciously directing this power, and the results you experience in life are simply a reflection of the beliefs you have accepted as true. If you truly understood this, you would no longer wait for success to appear before you believed in it. You would assume it, embody it, and live as though it were already yours. Everything begins in the unseen. The world you see with your physical eyes is merely a shadow of the invisible forces that shape it. Your inner world, your beliefs, assumptions, and dominant thoughts is the true reality, and the outer world simply conforms to it. The person who lives in fear of failure, constantly worrying about what could go wrong, inevitably attracts failure into their life. But the one who walks with certainty, who holds an unshakable belief in their success, will inevitably experience it. This is not a matter of luck or chance. It is a law as precise as gravity. Your imagination is the key to everything. It is not something to be dismissed as mere fantasy or daydreaming. It is the creative force that determines what you will experience in life. Every great achievement, every remarkable success, every invention, every transformation began in someone's mind before it became reality. The world itself is a product of imagination. If you can conceive of something and hold it as true in your mind, it must eventually manifest in your experience. To act as if your biggest success is on the way, you must live in the feeling of already having it. You must not simply wish for success. You must assume it, embody it, and make it a reality in your inner world. This means thinking, speaking, and behaving as the person who has already achieved everything you desire. It means eliminating doubt, refusing to entertain thoughts of failure, and replacing them with a deep inner knowing that success is inevitable. Many people believe they must wait for external proof before they can believe in their success. But this is a misunderstanding of how reality works. The external world is a reflection of the inner world, not the other way around. If you wait for proof, you are simply reinforcing the idea that success is not yet yours, and so it will remain elusive. But when you move through life with the certainty that your success is already unfolding, reality has no choice but to conform to that assumption. This is why faith is so powerful. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is the deep conviction that what you desire is already yours, even when there is no physical evidence. It is the ability to remain unwavering in your belief, no matter what appears before you. It is knowing that what you assume to be true within must eventually be reflected in your external world. This is how all great individuals have achieved their success. They did not wait for the world to confirm their beliefs. They imposed their beliefs upon the world. You must understand that reality is fluid, not fixed. The circumstances you see around you today are simply a reflection of past assumptions, and they can change the moment you shift your perception. The same external situation can be experienced in completely different ways depending on your state of mind. One person may see obstacles, while another sees opportunities. One person may see failure, while another sees a stepping stone to greater success. The difference lies not in the circumstances themselves, but in the perspective of the individual. This is why it is essential to remain steadfast in the feeling of success, regardless of what the outer world appears to be showing you. If you allow yourself to be swayed by temporary setbacks, you will only reinforce the idea that success is uncertain, and that uncertainty will be reflected in your experience. But if you hold firm in your assumption that success is already yours, even in the face of challenges, those challenges will dissolve, and reality will shift to align with your belief. Think about the way a person carries themselves when they are already successful. They do not hesitate, they do not doubt, they do not worry about whether things will work out. They know. They walk with confidence, they make decisions with certainty, and they expect success in all that they do. If you were to adopt this state of being now, before your success has fully materialized in the external world, you would set into motion the forces necessary to bring it into form. There is no need to chase success. The moment you assume it is yours, it begins moving toward you. Your only task is to remain in the feeling of already having it. The world around you may not yet reflect this reality, but that does not matter. Your senses will try to deceive you, telling you that nothing has changed, that you are still far from where you want to be. But this is only an illusion. If you persist in your assumption, the world must eventually conform to it. Most people allow doubt to creep in because they are too focused on the present moment. They look around and see lack, and so they assume lack is real. But the present moment is simply a reflection of past thoughts. If you want to change what you see, you must change what you believe. The moment you adopt the state of being successful, your future begins reshaping itself to align with that belief. The greatest mistake people make is looking to the external world for validation. They wait for signs, for confirmation that success is coming, and when they do not see it immediately, they begin to doubt. But success does not come from outside, it comes from within. It is not something you must earn or chase, it is something you claim by assuming it is already yours. The moment you stop questioning whether success is possible and start living as though it is inevitable, you will begin to experience it. Imagine for a moment that your success has already arrived. How does that feel? How do you move through the world knowing that everything is working in your favor? How do you think? How do you speak? How do you interact with others? If you can sustain this feeling, if you can live in the certainty that success is already yours, then the world will rearrange itself to match that assumption. It is not a matter of forcing anything to happen. It is a matter of allowing what is already true within you to be expressed in your external reality. Your only job is to remain faithful to the vision of success. It does not matter what others say. It does not matter what temporary circumstances may appear before you. The only thing that matters is the belief you hold within yourself. The more you persist in the assumption that success is already yours, the faster it will manifest in your experience. You are not at the mercy of chance, of fate, or of external conditions. You are the creator of your reality. The power to shape your life is in your hands, and it begins with the thoughts you hold and the assumptions you accept as true. The moment you stop waiting for success and start embodying it, the world will reflect that choice. The moment you decide that it is already yours, it will be. The world you see is nothing more than a reflection of the world within you. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption you hold is silently shaping your reality. There is no need to announce your desires, no need to plead, beg, or convince. The universe responds not to noise, but to the quiet certainty of knowing. The one who remains still, who moves in silence with unwavering faith, is the one who commands all things. When you understand that creation is finished, you cease the struggle. You no longer chase after that which is already yours. Instead, you embody it in your imagination, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. There is a power in silence, a force greater than words. It is the quiet conviction that the world must mold itself around your inner state. The one who truly believes has no need to explain, defend, or seek validation. They rest in the knowing that what is seen is merely a shadow of what is imagined. Everything you desire is already within you, waiting for recognition. The moment you accept this truth, you withdraw from doubt, from desperation, from seeking approval. You do not need the world to confirm what you know in your heart. Act as silent, and you will get everything. The mind that is still, that remains undisturbed by appearances, is the mind that holds dominion. Your assumptions held with inner stillness will harden into fact. Reality is not created through effort, but through faith in the unseen. The one who remains unmoved by circumstances, who does not react but silently persists in their assumption, is the one who bends reality to their will. The secret is not in speaking, but in being. You do not need to declare to the world who you are. You only need to feel it within. Do not chase, do not force, do not fight. Simply assume and let it be. The world cannot help but conform to the quiet power of your imagination. When you act as silent, you move beyond resistance, beyond doubt, beyond delay. You become the living embodiment of your desire, and, in perfect stillness, everything flows to you. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of the world within you. Every moment, every event, every encounter is shaped by the assumptions you hold, whether consciously or unconsciously. You are not merely reacting to life, you are creating it moment by moment with the beliefs and emotions you carry within. What appears as external reality is not separate from you. It is a mirror, faithfully reflecting your inner state. If you believe in struggle, you will see struggle everywhere. If you believe in abundance, opportunities will appear effortlessly. The people you meet, the circumstances you face, and the events that unfold are all manifestations of the thoughts and assumptions you have accepted as true. This is why some seem to move through life with ease, while others face endless resistance. The difference lies not in the world itself, but in the way each person perceives and assumes their reality to be. There is no need to seek outside yourself for confirmation. The proof of this truth is in your own experiences. Look back at your life and notice how your strongest beliefs have shaped your journey. When you expected failure, did it not appear? When you felt unworthy, did you not encounter rejection? And in moments when you believed in yourself, when you carried an inner certainty of success, did the world not align to match that confidence? The illusion is that reality is something separate from you, something happening to you, but in truth, everything is happening through you. Every event is drawn to you by the assumptions you hold. If you walk through life believing the world is harsh and unforgiving, your experience will confirm this belief. If you instead carry the quiet assumption that life is always working in your favor, circumstances will bend to reflect that knowing. This is why silence is so powerful. The world does not respond to noise or struggle, but to the deep certainty within. You do not need to force things into being. You need only to assume and let it be. When you assume something is true, even before the evidence appears, reality has no choice but to conform. The unseen world is more real than the visible world, for what you hold in the invisible realm of imagination must inevitably take form. When you truly grasp this, you stop chasing, you stop pleading, you stop looking to others for answers. You become still and turn inward, recognizing that the power has been within you all along. Every desire you hold is already complete in the realm of imagination. Your only task is to assume its reality and allow the world to rearrange itself accordingly. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about accepting the truth that reality is fluid and shaped by the consciousness observing it. You do not need to struggle to change the external world. You only need to change the inner world, and the outer will follow. This is why those who live in a state of inner peace and certainty seem to attract all that they need effortlessly. They are not forcing reality to conform. They are simply aligning with what they already know to be true within themselves. It is not necessary to announce your desires or seek approval from others. The moment you seek validation, you affirm that you lack belief in your own assumption. The only confirmation you need is your own inner knowing. When you move in silence with absolute conviction, the world has no choice but to obey. There is nothing to prove, nothing to explain. The reality you live is the only evidence that matters, and it will always reflect the state you hold within. There is no randomness in life. The experiences you encounter are a direct response to your state of being. If you find yourself in situations that do not align with your desires, the answer is not to fight against them, but to shift your assumptions. Do not seek to change the reflection in the mirror. Change the image that the mirror is reflecting. The outer world is nothing more than a projection of your inner world. This is why those who remain silent in their assumptions are the ones who receive. They do not waste energy trying to convince others, for they know that reality is not changed through effort, but through being. They embody the truth of their desires without needing external confirmation. They do not beg for opportunities. They assume opportunities are already theirs. They do not chase love. They assume they are already loved. They do not fear loss. They assume they are always provided for, and the world responds accordingly. There is no force greater than the quiet assumption of truth. The one who believes with unwavering certainty does not need to speak. Their mere presence commands reality to align. This is not arrogance. It is the natural law of consciousness. When you truly know something to be yours, there is no need to discuss it, argue for it, or seek reassurance. You simply carry the feeling within, and the world conforms. Look at those who seem to have everything flow effortlessly to them. They are not loud, they are not desperate, they are not constantly seeking approval. They move in quiet confidence, knowing that their inner world dictates their outer world. They do not worry about how things will come to pass. They simply assume it is already done, and the details take care of themselves. If you wish to change any aspect of your life, you must begin within. Do not attempt to force the outer world into submission. Instead, shift your assumption, hold it in silence, and watch as the world reflects your new state of being. This is the greatest power you possess, the ability to create reality not through effort but through knowing. The one who understands this truth no longer fears circumstances, for they know that circumstances are fluid, ever-changing in response to consciousness. Silence is not emptiness. It is the space where all creation begins. The less you speak of your desires, the more powerful they become. The more you hold them within, unshaken by appearances, the faster they manifest. Words may affirm, but it is the silent conviction that shapes reality. If you wish to see change, do not seek it outside of yourself. Become it within, and it will appear effortlessly. There is nothing outside of you that can alter your reality more than the assumptions you hold. You do not need to convince, force, or prove anything. You need only to assume and allow the world to reflect your assumption. The moment you grasp this, life transforms from a struggle to a dance of effortless manifestation. What you hold within is what you will see without. The key is to be still, to know, and to allow. Silence is a force more powerful than words. The world does not respond to noise, desperation, or struggle. It responds to the quiet, unwavering conviction of the one who knows. The one who truly believes has no need to explain, convince, or seek validation. They rest in the certainty of their assumption, and reality shapes itself around their inner state. Words may express desire, but it is the silent feeling of already having that desire that brings it into form. When you understand that creation is finished, you realize there is nothing to beg for, nothing to chase, nothing to prove. The need to speak of your desires, to seek reassurance, or to ask others for permission is a sign that you have not yet accepted them as real. The moment you assume something with absolute certainty, you feel no urge to announce it. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Because you already know it is done. It exists now in the unseen and will take shape in the visible world in its own perfect time. Silence is the language of knowing. When a person is truly confident in what they possess, they do not feel the need to declare it to the world. It is only those who doubt that feel compelled to seek approval. The quiet mind is the powerful mind, for it holds within it the secret of creation. Those who remain still, unmoved by circumstances, are the ones who shape reality. They do not react to appearances. They do not explain themselves to others. They embody the state of their desire in silence, and the world conforms. There is no greater resistance to manifestation than the habit of talking about your desires from a place of lack. Every time you speak of what you want as if you do not yet have it, you reinforce the idea that it is separate from you. The more you explain why you want something, the more you affirm its absence. Silence, on the other hand, is the ultimate act of faith. It says, I do not need to announce it because I already have it. It is the difference between hoping for something and knowing it is already yours. You must train yourself to withdraw from unnecessary words, to move in silence with the confidence of one who already possesses all that they seek. This is not about suppression or secrecy. It is about power. Power is not in talking. Power is in being. When you assume the state of your desire in stillness, without seeking validation, you create the space for it to manifest without resistance. The need to talk about something often stems from doubt, but when you eliminate doubt, the need to talk disappears. Look at those who move through life effortlessly, attracting all that they desire without struggle. They do not seek permission. They do not ask, do you think this will happen? They simply act as though it is already done. They carry themselves differently. They walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that the world bends to their assumptions. This is the secret of silence. It is not emptiness but fullness. It is the deep, unshakable awareness that everything you seek is already within you, waiting to be expressed. People who constantly talk about their plans, their dreams, their desires often do so because they are looking for reassurance. They want others to tell them it is possible. They want confirmation from the outside world before they dare to believe. But this is backward. Reality does not give you permission to believe. Your belief shapes reality. The moment you seek validation, you give your power away. The moment you explain, you introduce doubt. The moment you ask, do you think this will happen for me? You reveal that you are not yet convinced. The mind that is still, that moves without needing to declare itself, is the mind that attracts effortlessly. It is the quiet, unwavering assumption that manifests, not the loud declaration. The one who knows does not need to tell others what they are creating. They hold their vision in silence, nurturing it like a seed, knowing it will grow. They do not dig up the soil every day to check if the roots are forming. They do not ask others if the seed will become a tree. They trust the process and allow it to unfold naturally. Many people sabotage their manifestations by speaking too soon. The moment you talk about your desires from a place of lack, you reinforce the feeling of not having. The moment you seek external confirmation, you introduce the possibility of doubt. You must learn to remain silent, to guard your inner world from interference. Not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will support your belief. And that does not matter, because their opinion has no power unless you accept it. You must move in silence, trusting that what you have assumed will materialize in perfect timing. There is no need to force, no need to push, no need to convince. Everything you desire is already yours in the unseen. Your only task is to align with it internally, to hold the state of already having it, and to let the world catch up. This is the power of silence. It is the energy of certainty, the energy of creation. When you practice silence, you free yourself from the influence of external opinions. You no longer need approval because you already know. You no longer need to explain because you are certain. You no longer react to appearances because you trust in the unseen. This is true power, the ability to remain still while the world rearranges itself to match your inner state. The loudest force in the universe is not noise, but conviction. The one who moves in silence, who assumes in stillness, is the one who manifests effortlessly. The more you trust in the unseen, the less you feel the need to talk about it. The more you believe in the inevitability of your desires, the less you seek reassurance. You simply embody the feeling of already having it, and the world must respond. You are always creating, whether you realize it or not. Every assumption you hold, every thought you entertain, every emotion you sustain is shaping the world around you. Every emotion you sustain is shaping the world around you. The only question is whether you are doing it deliberately or unconsciously. When you move in silence, you take control of the creative process. You no longer scatter your energy by speaking of your desires with uncertainty. You hold them within, like a secret known only to you and the universe, and you watch as they take form before your eyes. Silence is not inaction. It is the highest form of action. It is the act of trusting so deeply that you no longer feel the need to ask, explain, or seek confirmation. It is the act of being so certain that your desires are already fulfilled that you no longer question their arrival. This is the power of silence. It is the power of knowing. And the one who knows does not need to speak. Everything in life is a reflection of what you assume to be true. The world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you expect. This expectation is not in your words, but in your state of being. You may say that you desire something, but if your inner world contradicts that statement, your reality will reflect the inner truth, not the spoken words. This is why silence is more powerful than speech, because manifestation does not happen through words alone, but through the silent feeling of already having that which you seek. Most people believe they need to ask, plead, or explain their desires to the world to receive them. They think that by talking about their goals, sharing them with others, or seeking advice, they will bring them closer, but in truth, this often creates the opposite effect. The more you speak about what you want, the more you reveal that you do not yet have it. The more you seek validation from others, the more you reinforce the idea that you are uncertain. And the more you explain why you want something, the more you confirm its absence. The universe does not respond to words, it responds to states of being. When you fully accept that your desire is already yours, you have no need to discuss it. You no longer feel the urge to ask when it will come, because you know it is already here in the unseen. The need to talk about something constantly stems from doubt. But when you eliminate doubt, the need to speak disappears. You become calm, composed, and still. You no longer seek confirmation from the outside world because you have already given it to yourself internally. This is the power of silence. It is not emptiness, but the fullness of absolute certainty. Silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of unwavering belief. When you hold a desire in your heart and assume it is done, you radiate a quiet confidence that does not need to be announced. Think of the most powerful individuals. Their presence alone commands attention. They do not need to prove themselves with words because their energy speaks for them. They have mastered the art of silent manifestation, where their inner world is so aligned with their desires that reality must conform. People often make the mistake of thinking that action alone creates results. They believe that by forcing, pushing, or constantly discussing their desires, they will make them happen faster. But manifestation does not work through force. It works through alignment. The moment you stop trying to control the external world and instead shift your inner state, everything begins to move in your favor. The moment you stop talking about your desires as something you hope for and start living as though they are already yours, the world rearranges itself accordingly. Silence is the strongest affirmation. Every time you resist the urge to discuss your plans from a place of uncertainty, you strengthen your belief. Every time you hold your desires within, nurturing them in your imagination without seeking approval, you reinforce their reality. This is why those who manifest effortlessly are often the ones who say the least about what they are creating. They do not need to convince anyone because they have already convinced themselves. The more you talk about something, the more you create space for doubt. When you share your desires with others, you open the door for their opinions, their fears, and their limitations to influence you. Someone may tell you it is impossible, that you are not capable, or that you should lower your expectations. If you are not strong in your assumption, their words may plant seeds of uncertainty in your mind. This is why it is often best to remain silent. Guard your vision, protect your dreams from interference. Let them grow in the stillness of your own conviction. Manifestation is an inner process. The world you see is nothing more than a projection of your internal state. If you constantly speak of your desires as something in the future, they will always remain in the future. But if you embody them now, without needing to declare them, they will materialize naturally. The most powerful creators are those who do not announce their intentions, but live as though their desires are already fulfilled. They do not wait for external proof before believing. They believe first, and the proof follows. Many people think they need to do more to manifest their desires. They believe that if they just find the right technique, the right affirmation, or the right strategy, their reality will shift. But manifestation is not about doing, it is about being. You do not need to chase what is already yours. You do not need to ask when it will come, because it is already here. You do not need to convince yourself with words, because true conviction is silent. Look at nature. Does the sun announce its rising? Does a tree ask permission to grow? Does the ocean seek validation before it moves? No, they simply exist in their natural state, and everything around them responds accordingly. The same is true for you. When you align with the feeling of already having what you desire, the world must conform. You do not need to force it, you do not need to beg for it, and you do not need to explain it. You simply become it and it appears. This is why those who truly understand the power of creation move in silence. They do not announce their plans before they have materialized. They do not seek approval from others because they already approve of themselves. They do not explain their process because they know that reality is not created through words but through states of being. They embody their desires quietly, and the world reshapes itself in response. There is a reason why the phrase "move in silence" holds such power. It is not about secrecy, it is about certainty. When you know something is already yours, you do not feel the need to announce it. When you trust in the unseen, you do not seek external proof. When you embody the state of your desire, the universe has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The need to talk about your desires often comes from fear. The fear that if you do not speak them into existence, they will not happen. But true creation does not require words. It requires belief. It requires the silent, unwavering assumption that what you want is already yours. The moment you stop looking outside for confirmation and start trusting in your inner world, everything begins to shift. Silence is the energy of completion. It is the state of knowing that nothing more needs to be said because it is already done. It is the space where manifestations take root and grow without interference. It is the quiet confidence that moves mountains, shifts timelines, and reshapes reality. When you understand this, you will no longer feel the need to seek validation, to explain, or to ask for permission. You will simply be, and in that being, you will receive everything you have ever desired. The unseen world is more real than what you can touch, hear, or see with your physical senses. Everything you desire already exists, not in the external world, but within your consciousness. What you hold as true within will inevitably manifest outwardly. Most people are trapped in the illusion that reality is fixed, that circumstances dictate their future, and that they must struggle, fight, or convince others to get what they want. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Creation is finished. You are not creating something new. You are aligning yourself with what already exists. The moment you assume something to be true, it is set into motion. But most people do not trust the unseen. They look around at their present conditions and allow them to dictate what they believe. If they do not see evidence of their desire, they assume it is not coming. If others do not agree with their vision, they begin to doubt. But manifestation does not work that way. Reality is not created from the outside in, it is created from the inside out. Silence is the key because it represents unwavering faith. When you know something is yours, you do not need to talk about it, explain it, or seek reassurance. The very act of looking for validation suggests that you do not yet believe. This is why those who master the art of silent assumption manifest effortlessly. They do not announce their desires, they embody them. They do not wait for proof, they become the proof. Consider how reality works. The world you experience is simply a mirror reflecting back what you assume to be true. If you hold the assumption that you are wealthy even when your bank account says otherwise, the world must eventually conform. If you assume you are loved even when no one is expressing love to you, circumstances will shift to match your inner conviction. This is not wishful thinking, it is the law of consciousness. The external world is always catching up to the state you hold within. The reason silence is so powerful is that it removes the interference. When you speak about your desires from a place of lack, you introduce doubt. When you explain your vision to others, you invite their limitations into your reality. When you seek reassurance, you admit uncertainty. But when you hold your assumptions quietly, without seeking confirmation, you remain in pure alignment with your desire. There is no resistance, no contradiction. Only the unwavering knowing that what you seek is already yours. Imagine planting a seed. The moment you plant it, you trust that it will grow. You do not dig it up every day to check if it is sprouting. You do not ask others if they believe it will grow. You simply know that given time, it must emerge. This is how manifestation works. The assumption is the seed, and silence is the soil in which it takes root. The more you disturb it with doubt, the more you delay its growth. But when you hold it with quiet confidence, nature takes its course and it appears effortlessly. This is why those who truly understand the power of assumption do not speak of their desires as something they hope for. They live as though they already have them. They do not concern themselves with how or when it will happen. They do not question whether it is possible. They know that once they have assumed it, reality has no choice but to conform. There is no need to convince anyone of your vision. Most people will not understand, and that is perfectly fine. They do not need to. Their beliefs are irrelevant to your manifestation. The moment you stop seeking approval and instead focus on embodying your desire, you accelerate its unfolding. It is not your job to make others believe in your dream. It is your job to believe in it so completely that the world cannot help but reflect it. Silence is not inaction. It is the most powerful action you can take. It is the act of standing firm in your assumption, refusing to be swayed by appearances and trusting in the unseen. It is the act of ignoring all evidence that contradicts your vision and knowing that what you desire is already a reality. It is the ability to walk through life with the quiet confidence of someone who has already received what they asked for. Most people fail to manifest because they constantly check for results. They assume their desire for a moment, but then look around and see nothing has changed. They get discouraged, doubt creeps in, and they abandon their assumption. This is like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it has sprouted. The process is interrupted and the manifestation is delayed. But when you hold your assumption in silence, without needing immediate proof, you allow it to unfold naturally. The world you see is nothing more than a reflection of your past assumptions. If you do not like what you see, do not fight against it. Change your assumption. The moment you accept something as true in your inner world, the outer world begins to rearrange itself. It may not happen overnight, but it must happen. The law does not fail. You do not need to speak about your assumption. You do not need to share it with others. You do not need to explain why you believe it is possible. Your belief alone is enough. When you hold your assumption in silence, you maintain its purity. You do not allow the doubts of others to influence you. You do not waver in your conviction. You simply know. And in that knowing, everything shifts. The most powerful manifestations happen in stillness. They do not require force, effort, or struggle. They do not require external validation. They happen quietly, effortlessly in the minds of those who understand that reality bends to their assumptions. The moment you stop needing the world to confirm your desires and instead trust in your own inner knowing, you step into true power. Look at those who achieve great things. They do not spend their time explaining their plans to others. They do not seek approval before taking action. They do not announce their every move. They move in silence, fully confident in their vision, and allow their results to speak for them. The world will try to distract you, to make you question, to make you doubt. But your power lies in your ability to remain unmoved, to hold your assumption regardless of what anyone says, to trust in what you know to be true, even when there is no evidence yet. The moment you master this, you will no longer struggle. You will no longer seek, and you will no longer doubt. You will simply know. And in that knowing, everything you desire will become inevitable. There is a power in moving in silence, in keeping your assumptions sacred, in holding the vision without needing to share it with the world. The greatest transformations happen in stillness, where the mind is free from outside interference. The moment you speak of your desires, you invite opinions, doubts, and contradictions from the world around you. But when you remain quiet, you guard your assumption, protecting it from anything that might weaken your belief. The world is filled with noise, distractions, and countless voices telling you what is possible and what is not. If you allow yourself to be swayed by external opinions, you dilute the power of your assumption. But when you refuse to engage in discussions about whether or not something is achievable, when you hold your vision without seeking validation, you keep your energy focused. The more you discuss your dreams with others, the more you allow their limited perspectives to influence you. Most people live in a world dictated by external circumstances. They believe only in what they can see and touch. When you tell them of your vision, they measure it against their own experiences, their own limitations, and their own fears. They project their doubts onto you, and if you are not careful, you begin to absorb them. There is an incredible strength in holding a desire in silence, in carrying an inner knowing that needs no confirmation. When you truly believe in something, you do not need to announce it. You simply embody it. You walk as if it is already done. You move through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that reality will shift to match their inner state. Those who understand the power of assumption do not spend their time convincing others. They do not explain, they do not argue, they do not justify. They remain steadfast, knowing that their internal world will inevitably shape the external world. Manifestation happens in the unseen, in the depths of consciousness. The moment you assume something to be true, the process begins. But the moment you start looking for validation, you introduce resistance. You send a signal that you do not fully trust the unseen. The very act of explaining, of seeking reassurance, suggests a lack of faith. True faith requires no explanation. It does not need approval. It does not need anyone else to agree. It simply is. When you hold an assumption in silence, you give it the space to grow uninterrupted. Think of a flame that is just beginning to burn. If you expose it to too much wind, it will flicker and die. But if you protect it, if you shield it from external forces, it will grow stronger until it burns on its own, unstoppable. Your assumption is the same. If you expose it too early, if you allow the world to challenge it, to poke holes in it, you weaken its power. But if you keep it within, nurturing it, believing in it, without needing the world's confirmation, it gains strength until it becomes your reality. Many people fail to manifest what they desire because they talk too much. They share their dreams with those who do not understand. They invite unnecessary opinions. They seek reassurance when none is needed. Every time they do this, they waver in their belief. They allow doubt to creep in. They give others power over their vision. But those who manifest effortlessly understand that silence is not just a preference, it is a necessity. It is a shield that protects the assumption from interference. The most successful individuals, those who move through life with grace and ease, have mastered the art of silent manifestation. They do not need to prove anything to anyone. They do not need external confirmation. They trust in the unseen, and because they trust, reality bends to their will. They do not react to what is in front of them. They act from a place of inner knowing. When something has already been assumed within, the external world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match that assumption. There is no need to announce what you are manifesting. There is no need to explain why you believe it will happen. There is no need to justify your faith. The more you explain, the more you dilute the purity of your assumption. The moment you stop seeking reassurance, the moment you stop talking about your desires as something that might happen, and instead embody the knowing that they already exist, everything begins to shift. Silence allows you to stay in alignment with your desire without interference. When you keep your assumptions to yourself, you do not have to defend them, you do not have to justify them, you do not have to engage with those who do not understand. You simply hold them within, nurturing them until they manifest effortlessly. Most people are unaware of the power they give away when they discuss their dreams with others. Every conversation, every explanation, every attempt to convince someone else is energy being scattered. But when you remain quiet, when you move in silence, all of that energy stays focused on your vision. This does not mean you cannot speak at all. It means you must be intentional with your words. Speak as if your desire is already a reality, not as if it is something you are waiting for. Do not entertain conversations that introduce doubt. Do not seek validation. Simply live as if you already have what you desire. The external world will catch up. Those who understand this principle never chase, never beg, never plead. They do not need to. They know that what they have assumed in consciousness must appear in the physical world. They do not discuss what they are manifesting because they know it is already done. They do not seek confirmation because they do not need it. They move in silence, fully confident in the power of their assumption. The world respects those who carry an air of certainty, who do not explain themselves, who do not ask for permission to believe in their own vision. There is a power in walking through life as if you already have everything you desire. There is an energy that others can feel, a quiet strength that commands attention without ever needing to demand it. When you embody this, when you hold your vision with unwavering certainty and without the need for external validation, you become unstoppable. Everything you desire is already yours. The only thing that can delay it is your own doubt, your own need for confirmation, your own willingness to allow others to influence your belief. But when you hold your vision in silence, when you refuse to let the world shake your conviction, you become a force that nothing can stand against. Move in silence, trust in the unseen, and watch as the world bends to meet your assumptions. Silence is the greatest power in creation. It is the space in which all things come into being, the unseen force that shapes the visible world. The mind, when still and unwavering, directs the course of reality with precision. Most people speak too soon, revealing their intentions before they have taken root, weakening the very power they seek to harness. They share their dreams with those who do not understand, seeking validation from minds bound by limitation. But creation does not require external approval. It only requires belief, held in absolute certainty, undisturbed by the opinions of others. When a desire is first formed, it is fragile, like a seed newly planted in the soil. If it is exposed too soon, if it is questioned, doubted, or ridiculed, it may never take root. The world does not respond to wishes, hopes, or vague desires. It responds to conviction, to assumptions so strong that it does not waver in the face of reality. This is why silence is essential. It protects the seed until it has grown strong enough to withstand the outside world. You are always becoming what you are conscious of being. There is no need to chase, to force, or to struggle. The life you desire is already yours in consciousness, waiting for its appointed hour to unfold in the physical world. The only requirement is that you assume it to be so. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you do not concern yourself with when or how it will happen. You live in the awareness that all things move in divine order, that every event, every person, and every circumstance is perfectly orchestrated to bring forth the manifestation of your inner state. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. What you accept as true within must by law become visible without. Impatience is the symptom of doubt. It is the mind's way of saying, I do not believe. But belief does not demand evidence, it creates evidence. To truly believe is to rest in the knowing that what you desire is already on its way. There is no need to force open doors that will swing wide at the perfect moment. There is no need to rush what is already unfolding. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up each day to see if it is growing. You trust the process. You water it. You give it light, and you allow time to bring forth what is already contained within it. So it is with your desires. The moment you accept them as real, the seed is planted. All that remains is to persist in that assumption, to dwell in the state of fulfillment, knowing that everything comes in its right time. Circumstances do not dictate your reality. Your consciousness does. When you persist in the assumption that all is unfolding perfectly, the world bends to match your inner conviction. Delays are illusions of the senses. The only delay is in your belief that you must wait. But in the unseen, all things are already finished. The only task is to align yourself with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and let time reveal what is already yours. You do not chase what is meant for you, you become it. And when you become it, it finds you. What you assume to be true in your consciousness must manifest in your physical world. There is no other way it can be. Your reality is not determined by outside circumstances, nor is it shaped by fate or luck. It is born from within, from the thoughts you persist in entertaining and the emotions you allow yourself to dwell in. Everything you experience is a direct reflection of the state of consciousness you occupy. If you wish to change your life, you must begin by changing your assumption. Assumption is not mere wishful thinking. It is not daydreaming without conviction. Assumption is the act of fully embodying a belief so deeply that it becomes second nature, so deeply that it feels as real as the ground beneath your feet. When you assume something to be true, you no longer question it, nor do you seek evidence to support it. Instead, you live from it, thinking, feeling, and acting as though it is already so. And because consciousness is the only reality, what you assume within must inevitably harden into fact. The world around you is not separate from you. It is not something happening to you. It is an expression of your inner state, a mirror that reflects the assumptions you hold about yourself, others, and life itself. If you assume that you are lucky, fortunate, and divinely guided, life will conform to that belief, presenting you with opportunities and synchronicities that align with your state of mind. If, on the other hand, you assume that life is difficult, that success is hard-earned, and that happiness is fleeting, the world will reflect those beliefs back to you as well. There is no escaping this law. You are always proving yourself right, whether you are conscious of it or not. Many people move through life unaware of their assumptions, believing themselves to be victims of circumstance. They look at their experiences and say, "This is just the way things are," never realizing that it is their own inner world that has created the conditions they observe. They do not see that they have the power to change their reality simply by assuming something new. Instead, they react to life, reinforcing their old beliefs and wondering why nothing changes. But those who understand the power of assumption know that nothing in their external world has any real substance until they give it meaning. They do not wait for circumstances to change before shifting their beliefs. They change their beliefs first, knowing that the world will rearrange itself to match their inner conviction. There is no need to force or struggle. The moment you assume something to be true, reality begins moving to align with your assumption. The unseen forces of the universe start working in your favor, orchestrating events, circumstances, and encounters that lead to the fulfillment of your belief. This is why those who understand the power of assumption appear to move through life with ease. They do not fight against reality. They mold it from within. They do not beg or plead for things to happen. They know that everything must come in due time because they have already assumed its existence. The greatest mistake one can make is to assume lack, limitation, or failure. To persist in the belief that you are unworthy, that things never work out for you, or that success is reserved for others, is to condemn yourself to a life of struggle. These assumptions, though invisible, become the architects of your reality. The mind, ever faithful to your beliefs, will seek out proof to reinforce them. If you believe that you are always overlooked, you will notice every instance in which you are ignored while filtering out the moments in which you are appreciated. If you assume that money is scarce, your mind will highlight every financial obstacle and dismiss any evidence to the contrary. You are always experiencing the world through the lens of your assumptions, whether you recognize it or not. But just as negative assumptions shape your world, so too can positive ones. The moment you shift your inner state and assume abundance, love, success, and happiness as your natural state of being, the world must reflect it back to you. The key is persistence. One moment of belief is not enough to override years of conditioning. You must live in the new assumption daily, refusing to waver even when the outer world has yet to catch up. This is where most people falter. They assume something new for a day or two, but when they do not see immediate evidence, they revert to their old ways of thinking. They check the outer world for confirmation, and when they do not find it, they abandon their new assumption, reinforcing the old one. But assumption does not work on external validation. It works on internal conviction. You must persist in your new belief as if it were already true, without needing proof. Only then will the world conform to your inner reality. Time is irrelevant when it comes to assumption. The only thing that matters is the depth of your conviction. Some manifestations appear instantaneously because there is no doubt or resistance in the mind of the one assuming. Others take time because old beliefs must be undone and the individual must learn to trust in the unseen before the evidence appears. But in every case, assumption is the cause and reality is the effect. There is no exception to this rule. When you understand this, you stop looking to the world for validation. You no longer seek signs, nor do you let temporary appearances dictate your state of being. You assume what you desire as fact, and you walk in that knowing, completely unmoved by what the senses tell you. You recognize that the physical world is merely the shadow of the unseen, and just as a shadow cannot exist without a source, your external reality cannot exist without your inner state. Change the inner and the outer must follow. This is why those who assume success, joy, and abundance live lives filled with those very things. They are not lucky, they are not special, they are simply operating by law, whether they realize it or not. Their confidence is not arrogance, it is certainty. They do not need proof because they have already assumed the truth within, and they know that assumption must lead to realization. You have been given the greatest power, the ability to choose your assumptions. You are not bound by the past, nor are you limited by what others believe to be possible. The only question that matters is this: what are you assuming to be true about yourself and your world? Because whatever you assume, whether consciously or unconsciously, is the reality you will experience. If you wish to change your life, begin now. Assume that you are already the person you desire to be. Assume that your dreams are already fulfilled. Assume that everything you need is already within your grasp. And then live in that state with absolute conviction. Do not wait for proof. Do not second guess. Simply assume it and let reality shift accordingly. The world will always mirror back to you what you believe to be true. When you understand this, you no longer react to circumstances, you create them. You no longer seek outside validation, you declare your truth from within. And as you persist in your assumption, life will bend to accommodate your belief, for it has no choice but to do so. Everything unfolds at the right time when you remain faithful to your inner vision. There is no need to rush, no need to force, and no need to worry about when or how things will happen. The moment you assume something to be true, it is already set in motion. The unseen forces of creation begin working in perfect harmony, aligning every detail in ways you cannot yet perceive. Your only task is to remain in the state of knowing, to trust in the inevitability of your desire coming to pass. Time is an illusion of the senses. It is only in the physical world that things appear to unfold in a sequence. But in the unseen realm, everything already exists in its entirety. There is no past or future, only the eternal present. The moment you conceive a desire and accept it as a reality within, it is already yours. The only reason it does not appear instantly is because your mind still operates within the framework of time. You believe that things must take time, that processes must unfold, that certain steps must be taken before something can manifest. But in truth, creation is finished. Every possible version of your life already exists, waiting for you to step into the state where it becomes visible to you. The delay between assuming something to be true and seeing it in your physical world is not a sign that nothing is happening. It is simply the unfolding of events in the most natural way, in perfect order. The mind, conditioned by the physical world, tends to panic when it does not see immediate results. It begins to doubt, to question, to worry if things are really working. This doubt introduces resistance, slowing down the very thing you desire. But when you understand that all things are moving according to divine order, you rest. You no longer worry about when something will come because you know it is already on its way. Consider the process of planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not stand over it in frustration, demanding it to sprout immediately. You trust that beneath the soil things are happening. Roots are forming, the seed is expanding, and at the right time, it will break through the surface. If you were to dig up the seed every day to check its progress, you would disrupt its growth. The same principle applies to your manifestations. The moment you assume something to be true, the seed is planted. Every thought, every feeling of certainty, every moment spent in the state of fulfillment is like watering that seed. The more you nurture it with faith and persistence, the more naturally it unfolds. And just as the seed does not struggle to become a tree, your desires do not struggle to become reality. They simply grow as all things do in their perfect time. Many people hinder their manifestations by focusing on time. They set deadlines, they become impatient, and they constantly look to the external world for proof. But faith does not require proof. Faith knows that the moment something is accepted within, it must appear without. The need for urgency only stems from doubt. The mind that is truly convinced does not rush. It does not worry. It simply knows. The universe does not make mistakes. There is no such thing as being too late or too early. Everything unfolds in the most precise way, in the most perfect sequence, even when the mind cannot yet see the logic behind it. Often what appears to be a delay is simply the rearrangement of reality to bring about the best possible outcome. You may think you need something immediately, but if it had arrived at that moment, it would not have been as fulfilling as it could be. There may be unseen factors at play, people you have yet to meet, opportunities that need time to align. The mind, limited in its perception, sees only the present circumstances and assumes that nothing is happening. But reality is always shifting, always arranging itself in accordance with your assumptions. Consider a person who assumes they are already successful. They do not yet see physical evidence, but they persist in the belief that success is inevitable. Over time, opportunities arise, doors open, and seemingly random events unfold to lead them exactly where they need to be. Had they doubted, had they constantly questioned and forced things, they may have interfered with the natural flow. But because they trusted in divine timing, everything unfolded in perfect order. It is not your job to figure out how things will happen. Your only task is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that state. The mind will often try to take control, to analyze and strategize, to demand answers about how something will unfold. But the how is never your concern. Reality itself will shape events in ways far beyond your comprehension. Your work is to remain faithful to your assumption, to trust that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances will arise exactly when needed. Fear and impatience create resistance. The moment you begin to doubt, to stress about timing, to question whether things are truly working, you disrupt the process. You move out of the state of knowing and into the state of uncertainty, which manifests as further delays. But the moment you relax, the moment you surrender fully to the knowing that everything is happening exactly as it should, you allow things to unfold effortlessly. Think of a river flowing toward the ocean. The river does not rush, it does not panic, it does not force its way. It simply flows, knowing that its destination is inevitable. If an obstacle appears in its path, it does not fight against it. It moves around it, continuing its journey with ease. So too must you trust in the flow of life. When you know that what you desire is already done, you do not struggle. You allow things to unfold naturally, without fear, without doubt, without resistance. This is the power of faith in divine timing. It removes struggle, it eliminates worry, and it allows you to live in a state of peace, knowing that all things are coming to you in their perfect moment. The impatient mind sees delay as a problem, but the knowing mind understands that delay is only the necessary unfolding of events in perfect harmony. What is yours cannot be taken from you, and what is meant to be will always find its way to you. When you operate from this state of trust, life becomes effortless. You no longer feel the need to push, to chase, to manipulate circumstances. You live in the end knowing that everything is already done, and you let time reveal what is already yours. You do not fear the passing days or worry about when things will happen, because you know that they are already set in motion. The moment you assumed it, it was done. Now it simply unfolds. This is the secret that those who truly understand creation live by. They do not rush, they do not force, they do not beg. They assume, they persist, and they trust. They know that time is only an illusion, that all things are unfolding exactly as they should, and that what is meant for them will arrive precisely when they are ready to receive it. There is no need to check for signs, no need to wonder if things are working, no need to question whether you are on the right path. The path has already been laid out the moment you assumed it to be. Your only task is to walk in faith, to live in the end, and to trust that everything is coming to you in the most perfect way, at the most perfect time. Your imagination is the blueprint of reality. Every experience, every encounter, every opportunity that comes into your life is drawn from the invisible world of your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. The outer world does not shape your life. It merely reflects what you have accepted as true within. This is why the most powerful thing you can do is assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. The moment you truly feel it real, the universe begins to arrange itself to make it so. There is no force greater than imagination. It is the divine power within you, the key to shaping your world according to your desires. Most people live as prisoners of their external circumstances, believing that life happens to them. They react to events, they wait for conditions to change, they believe that something outside of themselves holds the key to their happiness. But the truth is the opposite. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Everything you experience is a projection of the state you dwell in. If you see lack in the world, it is because you are unconsciously holding on to the idea of lack within. If you feel powerless, it is because you have assumed a state where power is absent. The moment you change your assumption, your reality shifts. Think of your imagination as a painter standing before a blank canvas. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is a brushstroke that shapes the final picture. Most people are painting unconsciously, unaware that they are the ones holding the brush. They fill their canvas with images of doubt, fear, and limitation, and then wonder why their world is filled with struggle. But the moment you become aware of your creative power, everything changes. You no longer react to the world, you create it. You take full control of the brush and begin to paint only what you wish to see. Imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is not just a place of fantasy or wishful thinking. It is the realm where reality is formed. Everything that has ever been created by man, every invention, every great achievement, every masterpiece, began as an idea, a vision in the mind of its creator. The Wright brothers imagined flight before it was possible. Edison saw the electric light in his mind before he brought it into reality. Every great innovator, every success story, every dream fulfilled began in the realm of imagination. They did not wait for the world to give them proof. They believed in what they saw within, and through that belief they made it real. When you assume something to be true in imagination, you shift into a state where it must come to pass. You no longer hope or wish for it, you know it is already done. This is the secret of effortless manifestation. It is not about forcing things to happen, but about dwelling in the feeling of already having them. When you truly feel something real in imagination, you no longer seek it outside of yourself. You walk with the confidence that it is already yours, and the world must conform to that belief. Time does not separate you from your desire, only your assumptions do. If you believe something is far away, it will remain far away. If you believe it is already done, it will come to you naturally, in perfect order. The greatest illusion people fall into is believing that they must wait for circumstances to change before they can feel the reality of their desires. They believe they must first see proof, first achieve certain conditions, first overcome obstacles. But creation does not work this way. The external world is a delayed reflection of the inner world. If you wait for external proof before assuming your desire is real, you will wait forever. But if you accept it as real now, reality has no choice but to bring it into form. Everything you see in your life today is the result of past assumptions. The relationships you have, the career you are in, the opportunities before you, all of it was first accepted as true in your imagination, whether consciously or unconsciously. This is why the key to changing your life is not in struggling with external conditions, but in changing your inner assumptions. When you assume something to be true, reality moves to confirm it. Think of a person who believes they are unlucky. They walk through life expecting things to go wrong, and so they do. They miss opportunities because they assume they will fail. They attract situations that confirm their belief in bad luck, but if that same person decided to assume that they were lucky, their entire reality would shift. They would begin to see opportunities where before they saw obstacles. They would move with confidence, attracting people and events that align with their new assumption. The world outside would seem to change, but in truth it was their inner world that shifted first. This is why you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The moment you embody the state of already having what you desire, you place yourself in the timeline where it becomes real. You do not need to figure out how it will happen. You do not need to force it into being. Your only task is to dwell in the assumption that it is already done. The world will then adjust itself to bring you what you already believe to be true. Doubt is the only thing that delays your manifestation. The moment you begin to question whether your assumption is working, you step out of the state of knowing and into the state of uncertainty. This back and forth, this wavering between belief and doubt, keeps you in a cycle where nothing seems to change. But when you hold firm to your assumption, refusing to accept anything less than its fulfillment, the world must yield. Your imagination is the seed from which all things grow. If you plant the seed of certainty, the fruit will come in perfect time. You do not need to keep checking the soil to see if it is growing. You do not need to question whether the process is working. You simply trust, knowing that what you have imagined is already real. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you move as if it is already done. You think, speak, and act from that place of certainty. You no longer hope you know. You no longer seek you have found. The world may not yet reflect it, but you do not need the world's confirmation. You need only your own. This is the secret of true manifestation. It is not about chasing your desires, but about becoming the version of yourself that already has them. The moment you assume that state, everything shifts. People, circumstances, and events will align in ways beyond your understanding. You will be led to the right place at the right time. You will meet the right people, encounter the right opportunities, and experience life unfolding in ways that seem almost magical. But in truth, it is not magic, it is simply the law in action. Your imagination is your reality. What you accept within will be made visible without. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, persist in that assumption, and know that the world must conform. Everything that is yours is already waiting for you. You need only step into the state where it becomes real. The outer world is merely a mirror of your inner state. Every experience, every encounter, and every opportunity that unfolds before you is simply a reflection of what you have accepted is true within yourself. There is no separation between your inner world and the events that take place in your external reality. They are one and the same, intricately connected by the invisible power of assumption. If you wish to change what appears in the world around you, you must first change the assumptions you hold within. It is not the circumstances that dictate your life. It is your consciousness, the very state in which you dwell. Most people believe that life happens to them, that they are at the mercy of forces beyond their control. They look at the conditions of their lives and conclude that these external factors determine their happiness, success, or failure. But they have it backward. Life is not happening to you. It is responding to you. It is a reflection of the ideas, beliefs, and states that you entertain in your mind. If you see struggle, if you experience hardship, it is because you have unconsciously accepted those experiences as part of your reality. If you see ease, abundance, and joy, it is because you have assumed those as your truth. Everything you encounter is simply your consciousness pushed out into form. If you wish to change your reality, you must first change your inner assumption. The world outside cannot shift until you do. The key is not in struggling with external circumstances, not in fighting against what you see, but in shifting your state of being. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, knowing with certainty that it is already yours. The moment you do this, the world begins to move in ways you could never predict, orchestrating events, people, and circumstances to reflect your new assumption. There is no need for force, no need for struggle, only the quiet, unwavering knowing that what you have accepted within must manifest without. Think of someone who sees themselves as unworthy of success. No matter how hard they try, no matter how many opportunities come their way, they will always find a way to sabotage their progress. They will unconsciously attract situations that confirm their belief in their own lack of worth. They may blame bad luck, difficult circumstances, or the actions of others, but the truth is that their external world is only a mirror of their inner assumption. If they were to change their state, to assume that they are already successful, already worthy, already abundant, their entire experience would shift. The world outside would reshape itself to reflect this new belief, and opportunities that once seemed out of reach would suddenly appear effortlessly. It is not about wishing, hoping, or trying to manipulate external conditions. The secret lies in living in the assumption that what you desire is already yours. The moment you accept this as true, you move into the state where it must be made manifest. You do not need to force things to happen. They will happen naturally as a reflection of the new state you occupy. The world around you is fluid, malleable, shaped entirely by the consciousness you hold within. Everything in your life right now is the result of past assumptions. The relationships you have, the career you are in, the people you meet, every detail is a reflection of what you have previously accepted as true. If you wish to create a different reality, you must assume a different state of being. There is no need to wait, no need to ask how or when things will change. The only question is, what do you accept as true right now? The moment you shift your assumption, reality begins to rearrange itself to align with that new belief. Consider a person who constantly struggles with money. They look at their bank account, at their bills, and they feel lack. They assume scarcity, and so scarcity is all they experience. Even if they receive money, it quickly slips away because their dominant assumption is that they do not have enough. But if they were to shift their inner state, to truly assume that they are abundant, that wealth is their natural state, everything would change. They would no longer see lack, they would see opportunities for wealth everywhere. Money would flow to them in ways they never expected, not because they chased it, but because they assumed a state where financial abundance was inevitable. The external world is not fixed. It is not separate from you. It is an ever-changing reflection of the state you occupy. If you believe that love is difficult, that people betray you, that relationships never last, then that is exactly what you will experience. Not because the world is against you, but because your assumptions shape what you perceive and attract. If you were to shift your assumption to truly believe that you are loved, cherished, and worthy of deep connection, the world would confirm it. People who once seemed distant would suddenly treat you differently. The relationships you attract would reflect the love you now assume to be true. The only thing standing between you and your desired reality is your current state of being. If you continue to react to the world as it is, you will remain stuck in the same cycle. But if you shift your inner world, the outer world must follow. It has no choice, for it is only a reflection of what you hold within. Time is not the barrier most believe it to be. People think they must wait for things to change, that circumstances must first shift before they can feel differently. But the truth is the opposite. You must first feel differently before circumstances can shift. The external world lags behind the internal assumption. If you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled now, the physical world must catch up to reflect it. It may take days, weeks, or moments, but the law is absolute. What you assume within will become your reality without. Doubt is the only thing that delays the process. The moment you question whether your assumption is working, you step out of the state of knowing and into the state of uncertainty. When you dwell in doubt, the world reflects that doubt. But when you remain firm in your assumption, when you refuse to entertain anything other than the reality you have chosen within, the external world must conform. Think of yourself as a sculptor, shaping your world with your inner state. Every thought, every feeling, every belief is a tool that carves your reality into form. If you sculpt from a place of fear, lack, or uncertainty, your world will reflect those qualities. But if you sculpt from a place of confidence, love, and abundance, that is what will appear before you. The key is to remain unwavering in your assumption, knowing that the world has no choice but to mirror what you have accepted as true. You are not bound by the past, not limited by circumstances, not at the mercy of forces outside of yourself. The power is within you, always. The moment you change your assumption, you change your world. The only question is, what will you assume to be true? Choose wisely, for your assumption is the blueprint from which reality is formed. There is no need to chase or struggle for what is already yours. The very act of chasing something implies that you do not have it. It affirms a state of lack, a belief that what you desire is separate from you, and as long as you hold that belief, it will remain just out of reach. When you truly understand that everything you seek is already within you, already yours in consciousness, you will cease the endless striving. You will step into the state of knowing, and from that state the world will shift to reflect your assumption. People spend their lives running after things: money, love, success, recognition, believing that if they could just work hard enough, push a little more, fight a little longer, then what they seek will finally come. But this is an illusion. The world does not respond to force, it responds to assumption. When you chase, you affirm separation. When you assume, you embody possession. The moment you accept that what you desire is already yours, the need to chase disappears, and that which you once sought begins to flow toward you effortlessly. Think of a person who desires love, but constantly seeks validation from others. They are always trying to prove their worth, to earn affection, to convince someone to love them. But in doing so, they reinforce the belief that love is something outside of them, something they must fight for. As long as they hold that belief, love will remain elusive. But the moment they step into the assumption that they are already loved, already whole, already worthy, the external world will begin to mirror that truth. People will be drawn to them, relationships will form naturally, and they will no longer have to chase love because love will come to them effortlessly. The same principle applies to money. Those who constantly struggle for wealth, who believe they must work tirelessly, who stress over financial security, are affirming that money is scarce, that it is something difficult to obtain, and so their reality reflects that belief. No matter how hard they work, they remain in a state of lack because their assumption is one of struggle. But those who truly assume abundance, who walk in the knowing that money flows freely to them, will find that wealth comes in unexpected ways. They will attract opportunities, unexpected windfalls, and effortless prosperity, not because they chased money, but because they embodied the state of financial abundance. Everything flows naturally to the one who knows it is already theirs. When you release the need to chase, when you step into the feeling of already having, you create an irresistible magnetic pull. The world begins to shift, people respond to you differently, and doors that once seemed closed suddenly open with ease. You do not need to struggle for what is already yours. The moment you assume possession, the world has no choice but to reflect that assumption. Imagine an actor preparing for a role. They do not simply memorize lines and perform mechanically. They fully immerse themselves in the character. They think, feel, and behave as if they are the person they are portraying. And because they commit so deeply to this assumption, the audience believes them. They do not see an actor on stage. They see the character brought to life. In the same way, you must assume the state of your desired reality so completely that the world believes it, that circumstances mold themselves around your inner conviction. You do not need to force anything. You need only to embody the reality you wish to experience. If you desire success, step into the assumption that you are already successful. Feel the confidence, the ease, the security that comes with knowing success is yours. Walk, talk, and think as the successful version of yourself. The world will respond accordingly. If you desire health, assume the feeling of being vibrantly healthy. Feel the energy, the vitality, the strength. Your body will align with that assumption. If you desire peace, assume that you are already at peace. Dwell in that state, and the chaos of the world will fade into the background. The law is simple. What you assume is true becomes your reality. The external world is merely an echo of your inner world. If you believe that things must be difficult, they will be. If you believe that you must struggle, you will. But if you truly accept that everything you desire is already yours, that it is coming to you effortlessly, then reality will shape itself to reflect that assumption. People often ask, how long will it take? But time is irrelevant. The moment you step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you have planted the seed. The timing of its manifestation is not your concern. A farmer does not dig up the soil every day to see if the seed is growing. He trusts that it will sprout at the right time. In the same way, you must trust that what you have assumed in consciousness will unfold in perfect order. Doubt and impatience only disrupt the process. When you truly know that something is yours, you do not question it, you do not worry about it, you do not chase it. You simply allow it to come to you. Consider the way a magnet attracts metal. It does not reach out, struggle, or force the metal to move toward it. It simply exists in a state that naturally draws things toward it. In the same way, your assumptions act as a magnetic force, pulling experiences, people, and circumstances that match your state of being. When you embody the feeling of already having what you desire, the world has no choice but to respond in kind. Many people misunderstand this principle and believe they must take relentless action to make things happen. But action, when it comes from a place of desperation or fear, only reinforces the state of lack. Inspired action, however, flows naturally from the state of knowing. When you have assumed the feeling of already possessing what you desire, the actions you take will be effortless, joyful, and perfectly aligned with your manifestation. You will be moved to act in ways that feel natural and fulfilling, rather than exhausting and stressful. This is the difference between those who struggle and those who succeed effortlessly. The ones who struggle believe they must force things to happen. The ones who succeed know that everything they desire is already theirs, and they act from that knowing. They are not waiting. They are not chasing. They are simply being. And because they are, the world bends to accommodate them. You must become the embodiment of what you seek. If you desire love, embody love. If you desire success, embody success. If you desire peace, embody peace. Do not look to the world to confirm it first. Assume it within, and the world will follow. Everything flows to the one who does not chase, to the one who simply knows. When you shift your state of being, the world must reflect that shift, for it can do nothing else. The key is to stop looking outside yourself for confirmation. Do not wait for the evidence to appear before you believe. Believe first, assume first, feel first. When you dwell in the state of already having, you set in motion the forces that will bring it to you. You do not need to know how, when, or through whom it will come. That is not your concern. Your only concern is to remain in the state of knowing, in the unwavering assumption that it is already done. When you no longer chase, when you no longer beg, when you no longer doubt, you become the embodiment of certainty. And in that certainty, everything you desire flows effortlessly to you, for it has no choice but to do so. The world is your mirror, and it will always reflect the state in which you dwell. Choose wisely, for your assumption is the force that shapes your reality. There is an unseen intelligence at work, orchestrating the unfolding of events in perfect harmony. The mind, in its impatience, often resists this divine order, attempting to force outcomes through worry, doubt, and fear. But the more one tries to control the process, the more resistance is created. The key is to trust that everything is happening exactly as it should, in perfect alignment with the assumption held in consciousness. When a desire is felt deeply and assumed to be true, the unseen forces begin to rearrange the fabric of reality to bring it into being. But this process is not always visible to the physical eye. The impatient mind looks for evidence, searching the outer world for signs that the manifestation is near, and when those signs do not appear immediately, doubt begins to creep in. Doubt is nothing more than the denial of the unseen process already at work. The moment doubt enters, the assumed reality is weakened, and the manifestation is delayed. Think of a seed planted in the soil. A farmer does not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. He understands that beneath the surface, unseen but active, the seed is taking root. He waters it, nurtures it, and trusts the process. In time, the plant emerges, first as a sprout, then as a full-grown tree bearing fruit. The same law governs the manifestations of life. What is assumed in the mind must be nurtured with faith, watered with conviction, and left undisturbed by impatience. People often mistake a delay for a denial. They assume that if something has not yet appeared in their external world, it must not be working. But the truth is, every desire, when firmly assumed, is already in motion. The physical world is merely catching up to what has already been established in consciousness. The more one surrenders to this truth, the faster the outer world conforms. But surrender does not mean giving up. It means releasing the need to control. It means stepping into the knowing that all things arrive at their appointed time, neither too soon nor too late. Life unfolds in ways that the rational mind cannot predict. The paths that lead to the fulfillment of desires are often unexpected, appearing in ways that defy logic. This is why trusting the unseen is so essential. The conscious mind does not need to figure out every step. It only needs to remain steadfast in the assumption that what is desired is already done. The unseen forces take care of the details, moving people, events, and circumstances into place. When one truly trusts the unseen process, there is no anxiety, no restlessness, no need to manipulate the world. There is only a deep and unshakable peace, an effortless knowing that what has been assumed is already on its way. And in that quiet certainty, the world bends to fulfill the assumption, for it has no choice but to reflect the state of mind in which one dwells.